Welcome back to another edition of Solved. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are in the world. Today we have a 2004 5.4 Ford Expedition, and we're going to be doing a starter supplied by the customer. The tools that you'll need is the 8mm for the battery there. If you have a power ratchet, that's good. If not, you got to use a hand ratchet, a couple extension tools, universal swivel, and a light is always helpful. As you can see, we already have it up on the ramps, so let's get to it. Okay, so I do recommend a light. Any kind you have is good. Obviously something that would be hands-free like this, so it has magnetic base, also has a hook, is a Milwaukee 2114-21. Let's see, where did it say that? There you go, right there if you want to take a screenshot. So focus. All right. Now you'll see that you do have a skid plate. Oh, let me zoom out. Right here, but you won't need to remove it unless you choose to. If you do, these bolts you don't have to take out. Just loosen those and then leave them in there. And then you can slide the skid plate out. You will have to remove this one and this one, and they look to be 13s. Now, you get that light, and what you do is just mount it magnetically like that, and then it swivels to the position that makes you happy. Now you're going to see that there is the wire connections right there. There's a 10mm along with a 13, and then to remove the starter itself, you're going to see that there is a 13mm. Oh yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Alright, I'm going to put it in the driver's seat.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Drive safe, sir.
150.
Yes, sir. Have a good day. That's a very nice customer. We have the 13mm on the left. This wire right here, and then the other 13mm. I have to put this light on the catalytic converter so I can point out the other bolt is right here. That's going to be fun to get to, but we'll get to it. I'll tell you how we do it. Okay, so I just want to show you here. I got the bolt out that had the wire, the negative ground. This is the setup I use, a little bit tight in there, so you might want to use a hand ratchet to break the nut loose. Fortunately for me, it already was. That's probably one of the problems. So as you can see, I've already positioned the top bolt that we got to take off. The socket's already on there, and I'm going to show you. Hopefully we can follow. See, there's part of the extension, and then it continues up. So what you want to do is, from this angle, you want to take it, and I'll show you the setup in a minute once we get it out. But what I did was I fed the entire extension and socket setup I did through here that way. All right, actually from under here. And what I did was I went forward to the point where you could see it sticking out right by the AC. As long as you can get it to that point, see there's the extension there. And I will tell you, I have a 6-inch with a locking collar on it. Then I have a 3-inch wobble, non-locking, that goes into a snap-on locking wobble, and that way it gives you a little bit of wiggle. The swivel that you just saw that had the short 13 socket on it, that's good for, I wouldn't use it in this case because it could be more troublesome than helpful. Also, the 13mm I have on there, as you saw, is a deep. So I'm going to get this bolt out now, and we'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, we got the starter out. Now this, I wanted to point out a few things because I forgot to mention. This is a 2-wheel drive, which makes it 1,000 times easier than the 4-wheel drive. And this is, by the way, the starter's on the passenger side by cylinder number 4, where it meets the tranny, obviously. And then you have your 13mm here and the 10mm here, which we'll take off in a moment, but I wanted to take a minute just to show you. This is the way to get it out. You get it to this point, loosen the wire, so that way you're not fighting, twisting, and turning, and then it'll come out in a moment. Okay, so now we got the wires disconnected. You just put them to the side over here. You'll see the starter's here, and then it comes out with ease. Oh, hang on a second. Wire, 10mm wire fed itself back on. So there's the old starter. And I believe I saw, yeah, there's the problem right there, the culprit. I can't really see it. Let me see if I can get a light on it. One moment here. I thought I saw the crack. Let me see. This was up here like this. Sorry, everybody. Oh, this is the one, yeah. This ear had a crack in it. I guess you can't see on here. But no worries. We got the new starter. We're going to get that going in just a second. I left the extension up there somewhere. I forget where it was. That way you don't have to. Oh, here it is. It actually fell. So this is the setup that I did. Locking 6-inch into a 3-inch non-locking wobble. That's a wobble. I'll show you what it looks like. So that's a wobble extension. You see the cutout right there. And then that's a regular square. And that's the difference right there. Square and wobble. Wobble gives you not 100% of the effect of a swivel like this, but it does give you some movement, and I think you have more control than you do the swivel. Now we're going to do it in reverse. Let's get it back together. I know you like my sexy legs. Just kidding. One other good point, these are the new nuts that came with the starter. The old ones, where did I drop them? They're right here. This starter obviously has been replaced 20 years. Let's see, what does it say? It says remanufactured. So yeah, this has been replaced. The factory nuts, I always recommend, even if you get these aftermarket starters, unless it is the exact same thing as the factory nut. Now the factory nut usually has like a washer that's kind of part of it, so that way it's not separate. And I always feel that it has a better tightness and feel and fit onto the starter, especially with the wires holding them in place. These have a locking washer and a generic nut. I don't really like them. I've seen them walk off, or loosen is another way of saying walking off. But we're going to put it back together and try to, you know, if you have them, use those. Don't use the aftermarkets. And if you have this, definitely want to put this on where this goes. Right here. Just like that. So if you have it, watch how you take it off. Don't discard this, because this keeps all the wires safe. Another little tidbit that I just found out would be helpful. While the starter is resting right here on the lower part of the subframe, cross member rather, that's a good time to set up these wires, because the way that the wires are routed, they articulate easier. Got to make sure that the tabs right there are facing towards the solenoid and not away. Otherwise you have a problem getting the nut on, which that again is 13 and that one is 10. From this point you want to feed it in, and we're going to turn it around because the gear is on the other side. Also want to point out, this is a good time to put the red cap on, which goes like this. So the two big nuts, you have this thing that goes side to side, and then the odd one goes to the 10 millimeter. So you just go like that and push it on, and that's it. Okay, so I'm just going to point out again, once you got the starter turned around where the gear is facing you like this, you want to make sure that the solenoid, this part right here with the little sticker on it, that's got to be facing down. As you can see, I took off that red plastic cover because it kept popping off. So maybe wait till after you install it, the starter, but don't disconnect the battery. You'll want to make sure you put that red plastic cap. If you have it, still a lot of them fall off or get discarded over the years. So if you have it, if you don't have it, you don't have it, but if you do have it, it's a good idea to put it on. No point in stopping now, doing it play by play. So what I do is I was able to get it up there, and you can see the bolt on the top to thread it, just to hold the starter up by itself. I finger threaded it. Now that that's on, we can put the other bolt in. Do not tighten them both down until you have each one at least a little bit threaded. If you tighten down one end, then it leaves the starter unable to be flexible enough or rotatable enough so that you can get the other one started. Both bolts again come in from the engine side back, because you can see the threads on the transmission bell housing. Okay, so I was able to get the bottom bolt in, and I'm going to start threading it in slowly, like there, good enough. And now we're gonna get the top. Because I forgot to show you this earlier, this is how I fed in this long extension setup that I talked about earlier. I went in through here, went back here. Oh, sorry. Went over here. You gotta go past the cross member, and then you gotta go forward. This is the best routing I can suggest. And we go back over here. You see it's there. And then you just gotta kind of mess around until it lands right where you want it, which is right there. Okay. Yeah, swivel may come in more handy, but I think, you know, when as long as you lay it up there, once you hook up your hand ratchet or power ratchet and it starts turning, the wobble allows itself to walk back onto the nut head of the bolt rather. Okay, so starter is finally installed. There is the first bolt that I tied in. Oh, sorry, hands in the way. First you got to put the bolt that has the nut part of it. Then you have this wire that goes on, and then there's another nut, also 13 millimeter. Another way which orientation you want to put the starter is, this is a drain nozzle, rubber drain nozzle, in case water ever gets in there, splashes up there, whatever. So that has to be facing down to 6 o'clock position. And the nut up there is tight now. I wound up having to use a hand ratchet once again as I broke it loose to tighten it, because the power ratchet only goes so far, and because of the lack of space over here in this area, I could not turn it. So I did a hand ratchet, and then I did a double check with the wrench. Now all we have to do is hook up the 8 millimeter on the battery. Okay, so here is the, you hear that? Don't ever use your hand as a hammer. You'll mess up your TFCC. Give that a little tighten. A little German measurement, Guten tight. Make sure that's covered. And now for the moment of truth. We're doing it live. Got a dead battery. Oh no, we got a dead battery. All right, gonna have to charge it. Well, that's the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask them. We'll get to them as soon as we can. This was a much longer video than I usually do make, but I did see a bunch of videos on there, and I didn't see too many that were really detailed. So I wanted to do a nice detailed video for you. Hopefully this helped you. If you know somebody else it might help, please send them the video. Thanks so much for watching. This is another edition of Solved. We'll see you in the next video.